the Cyclist Gamer Review Show 5th Anniversary Special! Alright, 1 week later, and we're finally back. I mean, I already pre-recorded this, but we got a new co-host anyways. So, welcome, new co-host. Read me the next question.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
And I don't f***ing care. Now read me the next question.
Okay, Cameron Douglas sent a video question. Let's play it.
Hello, Alec and his minions from the Cyclist Gamer Review Show. So, I was always wondering, since I found out about your channel from Retrospective Gaming, I've always kind of wondered, where did you get the name SideQuest Gamer from?
This question I've gotten many times, but many of you still don't know, and I could just, expand upon, the answers I've gave in the past. It's no secret, I like side quests in video games. I mean, I do have my grievances with open world RPGs littering itself with side quests that distract from the main campaign. And some of them are great, but other ones are just, fetch your grandmother out of a dungeon only to find out she's dead, or maybe a zombie, or something like that. And, the guy that gives you the quest rewards you anyways, or maybe tries to kill you, but just doing that 100 times just for a measly few hundred gold pieces, it's just, But yeah, I like the side quests, for example, Super Metroid. I love looking for the missile expansions, as well as the other upgrades. It's a lot of fun for me. And I've always been kind of like this, although I'm not really completionist. I only complete games if I feel like the reward is good enough for it, or if it's just that much fun to complete it, even if there isn't much of a reward, although I do prefer a reward. Alternate endings are usually the sweet spot for a reward. I don't really care for getting an upgrade I'm just not going to use now that I did, everything. For example, Spyro 2, where you unlock that infinite flame. Oh, cool, now you can just get the skill points, which is alright, I guess, but I don't know, there's some other rewards you can just do. I like getting rewards before I beat the game, Just these side quests, there's a right way to do it, and there's a right way to enhance the experience, but not without some trials and tribulations demanded of the player. But there's another secret. Before the Cyclist Gamer Review Show, this channel was simply called Cyclist Studios. What was I going to do on Cyclist Studios? Definitely not game reviews. I mean, a long time ago, I wanted to do an angry video game nerd knockoff called Dr. Video Man, where he was a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of personality. That was always my favorite Robert Louis Stevenson book. I'm sorry, Treasure Island. That's a good book too, though. It's one of those classic literature books you hear so much about that are just as good as the hype makes them out to be. But to get off topic, anyways, there's going to be game reviews, but it's I did not have the means or resources to do so. And in fact, it's I wrote these 1 or 2 scripts in 2012, and I got rid of the notebook, so it's not like I'm going to recreate it or anything like that. So SideQuest Studios, it was meant to show off a Halo fan fiction series that I wanted to do. I was a huge fan of Red vs. Blue, but I kind of wanted to do something that had more bearing, but not as much bearing as on the Halo universe. Whereas Red vs. Blue, from the seasons I've seen, was always self-contained. It just so happened to look like Halo, and they made a few references here and there to the Halo games, but it's just I wanted to do something that was Star Wars Expanded Universe, except in the Halo universe, so it'd be a comedy-focused kind of series. I can't really say the name, but it was a really juvenile 17-year-old came up with the name kind of title. Anyways, me, Justin, Andy, and Max were going to play different Spartans, and we were basically like Spartans that were secretly created or something like that. And we would go on missions that would slightly or majorly affect the Halo games, but we're kind of the hidden characters and stuff. I had all the outlines done basically, but I only really finished scripting the first 4. It was It was weird, but we had fun making them. Like, we would have writers' meetings in the school library, just writing up jokes and stuff. But because we graduated, I mean, we still hang out from time to time, but it's just like, we couldn't get together as often as we did in the high school library, now that we had no access to it or anything like that. And so, the SideQuest Gamer Review Show, it came from just repurposing an old name for the channel, but also because of my enjoyment of SideQuest content in video games.
Oi, Alex getting a bit jittery on live TV. Just give me the word and I'll f***ing hunt down that snivelling reptile bastard. He thinks he's a true Scotsman. I'm Caramel f***ing Douglas, the greatest reviewer on the internet. Here's a clip of me next project, which is much better than his. Today I'm here to review X1, more like X-Fun, cause it's f***ing perfect. I mean, sure, you don't get the f***ing death right at the start, you have to do the intro stage, and it's slow and boring, but it's better than every other entry. Doesn't that get you hyped? Also, while we're at it, if you're a pansy-ass British wanker who's watching right now, free Scotland! Give it back to the Scots, give Ireland back to the Irish, but you can keep Wales in the UK. None of us true Celtics want them. Back to you, Alec.
That was wild. Anyways, Kyle Campbell asks, what 5 video game characters would you take out on a date?
I am glad you asked. Number 1, Franziska von Karma from the Ace Attorney games. I mean, she has silver hair, she doesn't take from anyone, she's German, has a nice German accent, and she has a nice whip that'll come in handy later.
Alec, there are kids watching!
Hey, it's not like that sinful date is happening on live TV now. Also, COPPA laws dictates that they shouldn't be watching anyways, so... Number 2, Silver Sable from the Spider-Man PS4 game. I mean, she's from Symkaria, she has silver hair, she doesn't take from anyone, and, well...
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern.
Oh, do you now? Aren't you very observant? You can put 2 and 2 together. Anyways, let's just spice things up with a little bit of variety, shall we? Let's see if you can detect this pattern. Number 3, Raiden from the Metal Gear series.
Did not expect that.
He's not grizzly like Snake, and he has very nice features, and well, he has a very nice...
Oh my god, Alec!
It's 2020. I never said the date was romantic or even sexual of that nature. It could just be hanging out.
Okay, Weisenheimer, what is it that he has that's so nice?
Oh, do you really want to know?
I don't, but they pay me 15 SideQuestian bucks an hour to keep the show going. By the way, what is the conversion rate in US dollars?
Oh, about that, Number 4, Alex from Half-Life 2. I mean, come on, she's extremely likable, she's very funny, and she's very smart. She's probably my favorite character from the entire Half-Life series. I'm not even that big of a Half-Life fan, but I really liked her as a character.
Okay, that's cool.
And the 5th and final video game character that I would like to go out with, Carmelita Fox. You know why? Because I'm a closeted furry!
And ratings are plummeting.
They actually bought that. Oh my god, I can't believe they actually bought my bull. Full disclosure, I do not endorse zoophilia of any kind. If you're into that, please just never act out on it. Never even mention it in public, just repress it into the recesses of your mind, please. Just do society a favor.
Moving on. Octavian Knox asks, least favorite trilogy of anything?
Oh man, I am going to sound like a broken record. I, as well as the rest of the internet, cannot stop complaining about this infamous Bobcat. Yes, the Bubsy trilogy being 1, 2, and 3D are all consistently low-tier garbage, and my choice for the absolute worst trilogy of all time. I know some could probably think of something worse, but this is just the worst trilogy I've ever played. I haven't played enough Steam garbage to figure out what is actually the true worst trilogy of all time, and I don't really want to either. I'm comfortable just dealing with this trilogy instead. I was way too generous with my reviews of Bubsy 1 and 2. I gave way too much credit where credit is not due in terms of level design, and thought that if they just, shrink the sprites a bit and, increase the visibility, that'd somehow be a passable experience. Well, maybe that's partially true, but the level design is still just a mess of copy and paste obstacles, and there's just no rhyme or reason with them. I did clarify my updated feelings in my Woolly Strike Back editorial, but I still need to reiterate my disdain for this trilogy. Bubsy 1 suffers from the worst enemy placement, and just careening into stuff you didn't see coming is just annoying. 2 is a little more tolerable, but repeats level designs shamelessly, and despite being the best in this trilogy, it still sucks more than a black hole in the middle of our galaxy. And Bubsy 3D, what can I say that hasn't been said before? This is how you do not design a 3D game. Can you honestly believe the creator Michael Berlin blames 3D's failure on how Mario 64 came out months before it, and as a result overshadowed it? Then again, he blames Bubsy 2's failure due to the misuse of his characters. Notice a trend of him never blaming the actual design of said game? No, we'll just go with the use of the characters. Yeah, that's what people play video games for. I mean, to be fair, I think the characters are a bit charming, but that's just me. Even the annoying Bobcat is kind of creatively annoying.
What could possibly go wrong?
And I'm going to be honest, the music has grown on me, especially the Bubsy 1 soundtrack. Although I should clarify, I know that there's a new game out there and it's not really a trilogy anymore, but for the longest time, the 5th game did not exist. And as for the Atari Jaguar game, well, that game was awful, but doesn't really count since it was just an exclusive release. It was more of a spin-off, like Bubsy 1.5. But yeah, the Bubsy trilogy. I don't care for it. I in fact despise it. Whatever. The Bubsy series is old news. Nobody really cares about that anymore, except for maybe the new game. There's still much to be said about that. But anything that could be said about the series has been said, and we just like to move on at this point. But still, I will never let go of the agonizing pain that was playing through each and every one of those games.
I'll take your word for it.
Alright, let's do one more question before we do another trailer of an upcoming project I'm doing.
Sure. Your choice. Gabriel Piscato asks, what did you want to do before you decided to become a game reviewer? Unless there's something else you still want to be in which case, what do you want to do outside of reviewing games?
Before all this, I wanted to write comic books. There was a time I quit video gaming and only played a few games for the PS2, probably the Crash series, because that was the only series I was interested in at the time. And so, I just wanted to write comic books, create my own characters, and, I don't even really want to do a universe. I just kind of want to do something that was self-contained within its own pages, without mega events or crossovers. I mean, there'll probably be a few crossovers, but I love the Invincible comics from Image Comics. Some of you might have not heard about it, but it's one of their most popular kinds of series. It at least has a dedicated cult following. But I also wouldn't mind doing a TV show. I've always loved sitcoms, and I would like to do a mockumentary sitcom. Take inspiration from the place I've worked at, and still do, just change up the names for legal reasons, make up the scenarios more dramatic than they actually were, and just explore different characters, side characters, make them a little interesting. You can make any character interesting as long as there's a good writer attached behind it. I don't know if I'd be a good writer though, but that's why you need more than one writer. I just like to be a showrunner of this kind of mockumentary series, and each season would have 13 episodes, so that way it's not long and drawn out, and we have to come up with bottle episodes practically. And that way, by the time it gets to season 10, there's still some fresh ideas on the table. Or maybe someday I'll have other interests. I might get married someday. I don't know. It's hard to tell what the future holds in store for you. But you have to understand that priorities often change as time goes on. Anyways, enough rambling, it's time to show up one of my upcoming projects. Oh yeah, I forgot. I owe you money. Here are your 15 Cyclistian dollars. Each micro-explosive detonation is worth $1.
Wait! You don't have to pay me. I'll go home.
I am running out of co-hosts.
Now that, my friends, is worth a swig of voltage.
Alright, we are back with the last batch of questions. Are you ready, my third and final co-host?
I was born ready.
Excellent.
An individual with a Russian name asked many questions, the most interesting one being, I noticed you do a lot of retro video games. Will you do any modern games? Which includes pixel art, callback indie titles, or tilt stick forward to progress type of games.
Never! I am the 8-bit video game reviewer, dude! But yeah, I am going to cover modern games, don't get me wrong. In fact, one of my upcoming projects, well, it's not really upcoming, it's probably not going to be for a very long time, but I am in the process of writing the scripts for the Crash Insane trilogy because I've played through all those and I really enjoyed them. In fact, I find it to be the perfect opportunity to right the wrongs of my original Crash video, and I'd like to do that for Spyro as well, but that's not as much of a priority. In fact, I'm sooner to review Medieval than I am to revisit the Spyro trilogy, but I am very impressed by what they've done with like the remaster, but maybe it's not as good as it looks if I actually play through the entire thing. I know there are some differences here and there. I'd also love to cover Spider-Man PS4. That is easily my favorite game Insomniac has ever made. Like, they did such a great job handling not just like Spider-Man, but the gameplay as well. But basically, I don't play retro games because modern games are bad. No, I'm not like that at all. I just play what I want, and more often than not, a lot of the series I like came from like the 4th, the 5th generation, occasionally the 6th generation. I'd love to cover more 6th gen games, but I need to get some of the proper equipment. That's another thing. What I review is primarily based off what I can record. I don't have a lot of money, I'm going to be honest. I am very good about saving my money for important things, but then I have to wait a while before I make another grand purchase. I'd also love to cover more indie titles, like Dusk, the FPS game that kind of reminds me of Quake. That is one of my favorite new FPS games I've ever played, and I'd like to give that game some coverage sometime. I especially have some plans for Shovel Knight, like all 5 of those little mini games and the DLC as well.
Alright, but can you answer this $1 million question? Coola D asks,
Oh no, I hope he doesn't ask about Mega Man Soccer again. Alright, show me the question, read it to me.
if your cat brings home food from the outside world, would you eat it?
Whew, that's a relief. Did not expect him to ask that question. But anyways, Cool D, that's such a silly question, especially in this day and age. If my cat brought home a perfectly good crow, of course I'll eat it! I mean, otherwise the food would go to waste, and food is very expensive, especially if you want it organic.
Pheasant's better.
To each their own. Anyways, what's the next question?
IKG Productions asks, what is your favorite 3D Zelda and why?
The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Next!
But why?
Oh man, he's got me there. Well, I know there are more recent complaints about the overall quality of Wind Waker, but I personally feel like I had the most fun regardless. Like, I enjoy sailing out to sea. It does wear out its welcomes once everything is expected, but at the same time, there's still stuff to do at the sea, as opposed to Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Fields. I also find the combat to be solid and has more of a flow to it, even if it doesn't evolve much from the predecessors. I mostly love the experience of Wind Waker, interacting with NPCs, learning their story, exploring these beautiful cel-shaded islands, and the story actually had me interested in it because of how expressive the facial animations are, and how it strays away from the traditional fantasy story about a Lord of Darkness doing dark things and threatening to make the world of light all dark again once he gets Precious MacGuffin that makes the land all dark. I mean, to be fair, in the predecessor answers especially, Ganon is exactly that, but it does focus on things I can connect to, like why this journey matters to Link, and for a Lord of Darkness and said fantasy game, they actually gave Ganondorf a third dimension when talking about the Gerudo people he once ruled, and how his actions actually contributed to their downfall. He's not just the evil man who does an evil laugh whenever he gets his precious MacGuffin. So for all that, I will take the less dungeons with a more simplistic structure because the journey still feels incredible regardless. Even the weakest of the dungeons still have some interesting aspects to them.
Oh no, it's too easy. Please make it arbitrarily harder next time.
Fascinating. Anyways, Jeremiah Alexander asks, what do you think is your best video?
Well, some days I think it's the Metroid NES videos I've done a while back, but most of the time I think it's Mega Man 6. Like, it was a lot of work to make. It was a grueling editing process, but in the end, I'm very happy with how it came out. Sure, it didn't win everyone over, that's kind of a given, but everyone seemed to enjoy it for the most part, and I was very happy with how it came out.
Oh.
What's the matter?
You just answered another question before I even asked you.
Which one?
VBG asks, what is your favorite classic Mega Man game?
As of now, Mega Man for the Game Gear. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. I couldn't say that with a straight face. And that joke probably would have worked a lot better if the person asking the question didn't ask that beforehand. I'm sorry, co-host number 3? It's time for you to go.
Wait,
Bye-bye.
what? Oh, my organs!
It's so hard to find good co-hosts nowadays. I mean, sure, the ones I hire, I always secretly put micro-explosives inside their drinking water, but still, that's just for insurance policies. 60, 59, 58, 50... Oh! Alright, Sean. I'm going to answer your question. Alright.
Hey, Alec. Nice to be on the show and all, but, here's my question for you. If you were a part of the Area 51 raid, what would be the one thing you would grab from Area 51? And also, now that I've told you this information to you, you have around 20 or so seconds before the government breaks into your house after you answer this question, so, have fun with that, man.
Okay, Sean, I don't have much time left, so I'm going to answer your question real quick. If I were to raid Area 51, I assume there'd probably be like a plasma cannon, right? So anyways, I will have an effed up version of World Peace, and how this will be done, I will hire engineers, or they'll volunteer for me, and we will duplicate each plasma cannon and give it to each country around the world, so everyone would have the same weapon of mass destruction, being this plasma cannon. Anyone can wipe each other out, anyone can potentially destroy the planet, so everyone would be forced into a stalemate, and that'll be my effed up version of World Peace, and it'll be glorious. Anyways, alright, looks like we're out of time. Oh jeez. Thank you all so much for watching this 5th anniversary special. Season 5, in retrospect, it was lengthy, and I promise that the next season will probably be shorter, it'll be better planned out, and I'm not going to have these hiatuses that pretty much plague this season. Like, I may not upload as many episodes as I used to, but looking at the quality of those old videos, even from Season 3, it's just like, it did not match up to my later standards for, like, my videos. So, I think this is my favorite season so far. I cannot name one filler episode I uploaded just for the heck of it. And that's the way it should be. Even with lesser known titles, the episode should at least feel special. So again, thank you all so much for your continued support. And until next time, I'll see you all later, and remember to stay awesome. Oh gosh, I really gotta go. Jeez. the hell are you doing here? Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm kind of freaking out right now. I don't know if I'm quite ready to end things off. These past few years have kind of been signaling that. Are you sure there's nothing you can do about it? Okay, well, since you're giving me the opportunity, I have a few ideas. Okay. Thank you.
I can only speak of this in retrospect since I only played and appreciated the series after the fact in 2016, so I decided to ask an old online friend of mine who had worked alongside me to review Metal Gear Solid 2 on YouTube a couple years back, Alec Alger the Side Quest Gamer, who's a fellow YouTuber with a very loyal fan base and has the same dedication reviewing games that I have, what his thoughts on the current state of the series was, how it got to this current low point, and what it felt like watching this transformation. The full effects of which can only really be seen after the fact, but regardless, this is what he had to say.
Metal Gear Solid is one of the most beloved video game series in the gaming community, from what started out as a Japanese-only computer game in the 80s, only for their concepts to be expanded upon in the highly revered Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation. It has enjoyed 4 sequels since then, and various side games and spin-offs, but like a lot of highly acclaimed video game series, there's often a point of decline.
That worked. I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, Frank!
Hey, it's the Side Quest Gamer. How you doing?
I have a bone to pick with you. After defeating me twice in Super Mario Bros. 3, I have finally come back, resurrected from the dead, from my grave of self-pity, thanks to the help of my side quest acolytes. And you know what they have tasked me with doing? They want me to have a rematch with you, and I plan on winning this time.
Well, Side Quest Gamer, this Saturday, not only will I put you back in your place, I will convince you to shave off that mustache.
I will shave off this mustache if I lose, but if I win, I get to keep it, and I'll have the bragging rights. I'll see you this Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Be there!
3,
3, 2, 1,
go.
Oh, well, okay. I had an extra... I'll wait an extra moment just to make that fair.
I'm in the map. Let me know.
It's all good.
I'm
all
currently over the first level, so just like, well, 3,
Dude,
2, 1.
I already got into the level.
Okay.
Why does he have wings? I don't trust him. Reset. He's giving me the okay to keep going,
Yeah.
so...
So powerful, I want to just doing the low latency stuff.
And besides, assume Alec is losing anyway. It's okay.
Yeah. If there is actually a tiebreaker, we will just compare the footage later on and declare it.
Call me impressed.
It's going to be a little bit before we find out exactly which levels kind of separate how far we... You're going to see the levels that'll, like, separate... That'll show, like, the gap in skill.
Ah,
how lucky one of us can get.
I just died.
And there it goes. Well, actually, to be fair, I died once as well, so...
I'm bum rushing
Frank, remember the tortoise and the hare. Just don't stop to take a nap. Don't underestimate the enemy, no matter how incompetent he may be.
You can underestimate me all you want.
I mean, I did that the last time and I won, and he rage quit in World 6.
Alec Frank is on the final boss.
Yep.
Well, whatever.
F's in the chat for that mustache.
On the bright side of things, look onto the bright side of life, I am way further than I was in the previous 2 races.
That's true. You have definitely
that's
improved.
true.
What were you going to say, Frank?
I mean, you didn't rage quit, so. And it's over.
No!
Bum 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 ba-da-da-dum.
No! My stash, my beautiful stash.
What?
This is gone. Look at me.
See?
Look at me.
I have Super Mario Adventures right here.
I'm nothing without it.
Our colleagues are getting excited.
Alright. Tell you what, I'll
everyone's
shave
really
this
excited.
after I finish the game.
It looks so-so.
Okay.
But, if not on the 3DS, then maybe on the Switch, I'll eventually get around to beating that game.
Got him! I beat the game, guys!
Alright, Alex.
First
Yay.
race I beat the game without cheating.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to use warp whistles because I won already. I forgot about that.
I don't know what to say anymore.
Oh, guys, my nose bloody. Oh, jeez. Look at that. I'm bleeding.
How do you f this up?
God, taste blood.
Also, because we're laughing at him. The side bleeding gamer.
Side bleeding gamer.
Frank, the Knuckles Channel 3 Knuckles is the Super Mario Bros. 3 master. I admit defeat.
I finally found you. After searching for so many months in this wretched dimension, I finally found you. Now, I admit, it wasn't personal at first. I was hired to do a job, and I am going to do it. But now, it's personal after you install those frickin' warp blockers.
Self-destruct sequence activated.
Prepare to die. Let me see that. Get out! This place is gonna self-destruct. I don't have much time.
Computer, I would like to disable the warp blockers, please. I am Cyclist Gamer.
Voice key not recognized.
What do you mean you don't recognize my voice?
Self-destruct in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Supreme Leader is not
2,
going to be pleased.
1.